inner circle. So we're going to bring the clubs up above our head and we're going to cross the midline straight away and return to the top position. Now when I reach there, I want to alternate my crossing hands just like we did with the pendulums. Yeah? So work on one rep at a time, and when that feels good, then you can start having a bit more flow. Yeah? So any type of movement where we cross the midline is defined as a closing movement or an inner type of circle. When we're doing the outer circle, we're going to let our arms fall out to the side and return to the start position. So from here, I'm just going to keep the clubs in prolongation of my arm, cross at the bottom, and return to the start. Just like we did before, every time my hands are crossing, I'm changing the leading hand, or the top hand, if you want. Again, do a few reps of those, nice and slow, one rep at a time, and then, when comfortable, you flow smoothly from one swing to the next. No sudden acceleration. Strive to maintain a steady, reliable, casual tempo. So if we have a parallel to one direction, of course we have the opposite as well. So we've got parallel to the left, parallel to the right. So here I start at the top again to make it easy during the learning process, and I'm going to slightly turn, so the clubs are going to be really tight and close against my body, just like if there was a wall in front of me, and they're both moving at the same speed. So I turn slightly, I start the drop, I turn, and I square up my body as I finish. And again, when you start feeling the flow of the move, then you link the terms. Again, no sudden acceleration. Keep it nice and smooth and flowy. Yeah? Boom. Now, if you have troubles and you feel your arms are about to cross or you don't know exactly what's happening, what you can do is just hold on to one club like this. So you're going to start here. Everything is squared up. Turn to the one side. Bring the clubs in front of you. And lift them up and return to the start. Yeah, so we drop, square, lift, and then of course practice in both directions. So every time that my arms are up or down, yeah, my body is squared up. So there's no crossing, no tangling of the arms. After you practice the circles in front of the body, we're going to start practicing the circles by the side of the body. Now, it's impossible to move both arms in the same direction at the same time without dislocating the shoulders. So here we're going to work on a bit more complex movement. We're going to add an element of rhythm. So the first is going to be alternating forward circles. Yeah? So it's like doing the front crawl in the pool. Boom. I can use my leg drive again. Boom, I'm done, finish. Return to order, and then we're going to practice the reverse. So I'm going to show a different view this time, but it's still the same principle. One club starts moving backwards. It reaches the bottom position, the next one starts. Yeah, so I'm doing my back crawl. Next up, we've got the opposite circles. So one club is going to move forward and the other one is going to move backwards. And this is really emphasizing the rotation through the upper body. It's the only way you can do this properly without hurting your shoulders. So let's have a look at it in slow-mo. Boom, My body is squared up. One club falls forward, the other one backwards. I look at the back club. Here I am in the T, sort of like both clubs are in line. I square up again as my clubs are by the side of the leg. I turn to the other side, look at my back club, and then I come back and square out my body when they're both overhead. So with a bit of speed, and you guessed it, 2 directions. So now we're going to switch. The right hand is going to move forward, left is going to go back. Now, what's important when I'm doing those circles by the side of the body is make sure that I stay in the right plane of motion, right bane. So you got to picture yourself inside a very narrow corridor where you're basically scraping the walls. Yeah? So there's a difference when I'm doing my back circle, going out wide. I'm describing a small circle compared to here, really tight against the legs, and I'm describing the biggest circle that I can. So this is what I want to achieve on every rep, the biggest circle around using the joint that we're supposed to use. So shoulder, elbow or wrist, doesn't matter. Same principle applies. Okay, the next big circles we're going to look at are actually going to take place on the diagonal line. So we're going to cross the midline and perform figure eights. So it's going to be a tall figure eight instead of a flat figure eight. Let's look at it. Order, you're going to simply cross to the one side, look at the club, you come to the top there, and you're going to swing both arms to the other side. So we got a side to side swing. Nice, tight, close against my legs. So I want to stand with my feet right under my hips. So I'm not swinging out wide or hitting my knees. Yeah. Let's take a look at the side view. So here, boom, I start. I'm moving forward. My knuckles are driving the movement. Imagine you're chopping somebody in 2 halves. Yeah, so the edge of your sword has to be pointing downwards. Boom. So for the reverse 8, we're going to bring one club to order, turn and look over that shoulder. Let both clubs describe a circle by the side of the body, and then switch across. There's a bit of side bending element in this exercise. We are coiling the core, harnessing all the power from our midsection to drive the clubs. Notice I'm still pivoting with my feet as well. Yeah? Side view, look back, boom. So this time the knuckles are facing up to the ceiling as we drive the sword from the ground up to the ceiling. Boom. So here's a quick little combination that you can do where you're going to introduce again the element of stepping and turning 90 degrees. So just like we did with the pendulums, where we start with a crossing in front of the body and turning to the side into the opposite pendulum, we're going to repeat the same sequence, but this time we're going to do full circles. So we're going to start with the inner, and you could also try it with the outer circles. And then we're going to turn, and it's going to change into the opposite circles, where we're going to end up swinging by the side of the body. So let's take a look and practice a few times, all right? So from order, I bring the clubs up. I start with my first circle, second, third, and the fourth. And without stopping, I go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come back to the center. 1, 2, 3, and 4. To the other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Back to center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Outer circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back to the center where we close. Okay, so there's a bit of work there for you guys and girls, mastering the timing. When is it exactly that I have to turn so that I do not interrupt the smoothness of the swings and therefore the flow. So now we're going to look at the elbow circles. Elbow circles are involved when we're doing the heart-shaped swings. So this is going to be a basic and short introduction that will help you build the foundations to learn and progress to the different type of heart-shaped swings. So the first one we're going to do is from the order position, do a front elbow circle. So the clubs is going to swing from order and return to order. And you can see when I catch at order, I'm not centered, but I'm slightly out to the side. This allows me to launch the next club. Boom. Yeah, so just let the arm stretch out and return to order. So every time, side to side, I'm following the club with my eyes and my head. I stay nice and relaxed. Use the breathing to help the timing as well. So very simple, the alternating low cast or alternating front circle. Again, one name is what it's called in a system, and then in another system they call it something different. But basically, it's a circle based around our elbow, right? Now, if you can go in and cross the midline at the start, you can also do the opposite, where you're going to turn this time, look at the club situated to your back. So this one is front, this one's at the back, and then let it swing, boom, from out to in. And there we go. So now we're doing the outer alternated circles, right? Of course, you can experiment also with the parallel variations. But the next one we need to focus on is the back circles. And when we mention back circles, of course, it's a circle happening behind the back, but it's a high circle. Otherwise, it would be called low back circle, right? So from the order position, we're going to bring the club up as if we're blocking a blow to the head. The end of the club is going to point directly at the opposite shoulder. And now you can see my elbow is about 90 degrees bent. I'm going to close that gap. So the club slides and falls at the same time, or drops. And as soon as it goes over my shoulder, I pull it back down into the order. Yeah, so here, boom. Nice and slow control. Now the movement is happening around the elbow. The only thing your wrist is doing is a slight deviation like this. Yeah? We're not trying to use the wrist to do this swing. Now what is important is to relax. So you can do that by relaxing your grip. You see that basically my little finger is choking onto the knob here and providing enough grip that I don't have to squeeze the rest of my hand. So yes, I'm still holding the club with all the digits, but it's a very nice and loose grip as soon as the club is in motion, swinging behind my back. Look at the end of the club over the opposite shoulder, bend the elbow, and pull down to order. So we have basically a push, I relax, I twist and turn and pull. Yeah, you see my body is not centered. I'm facing a little bit to the side. I push, twist and pull. Push, twist and pull. And the trick is finding the rhythm, the timing when I'm supposed to do the different actions. The more I can relax, the smoother my swing will be. If you still have problems feeling the swing behind your back, you can experiment with a slightly heavier club, or you can use the physics and the gravity to your advantage. So from the old position, we're going to press the club directly up into what's called the torch position. Yeah? Boom. From here, I'm going to simply maintain my elbow pointing up and bend it so the club's going to fall behind me and pull. Now that extra drop accentuates the forces and might help you to understand the swing a little bit better. Yeah? Next up is the last of the 3 pivot points. We're going to look at wrist circles. This can be a little bit challenging, so we're going to introduce a prop to help you learn the swing a lot faster. So let's look at the wrist circles from the older position. Boom. And then you can start adding or linking the swings. But remember, when you're learning a new movement, the best is just do 1 repetition, mark a little short break, and then link the next one. Okay? So these are forward circles from the old position. And then of course we have the reverse. Boom. The club starts falling towards my shoulder and return to order. So once you know the forward and backwards, you probably guessed it, you can also do opposite wrist circles. Okay, so these are the possibilities that you have in this plane of motion. Once you've learned, and we're going to go to the tutorial and the enhanced tutorial, so you're going to learn it faster. Once you learn those wrist circles, you also want to practice them from the flag position with the arms out to the side. So you can have the away from the body, outer circles, towards the body, inner circles. Okay, so it's a good idea to be able to do those circles in any type of position, because then you can start adding them at different section of your swings. So combining the wrist circles with the larger circle and so on. And we'll look at a few examples after the tutorial. Okay guys, using a wall is the fastest way to learn the wrist circles. It gives you instant feedback and adjusts the trajectory of your swing. So what you do is you step close to the wall. Should be roughly like a hand's width apart between your shoulder and the wall. You come to your order position, let the club rest against the wall. Yeah. From there, the club's going to drop forward. Your palm is going to face up to the ceiling, and you can release the 3 digits, the last 3 digits. So you're holding on to the club with the ring grip. Okay. Now the club is pointing down this time. You can see that my elbow has moved in towards my center line. Yeah. The palm is facing fully up. The club has not dropped in my hand. I'm still holding on to the same position as I had a full grip. So avoid letting the club drop, so you're only holding on to the knob. Yeah? So here I am, and from here I'm going to use the acceleration to bring the club back to order. And observe now the position of my hand. Low, launch, it's coming up, and as I pull down to order, it drops. So try thinking it's like a full body exercise instead of just holding the wrist in place and trying to do those circles. Especially important if you're using heavier clubs. Then of course we've got the reverse. Boom. As always, when you're learning, 1 rep at a time. boom, mark the order, and then you can start linking. Remember, don't let go of that ring grip. So once you work with the circles and you start to develop some kind of feeling for the pull of gravity and the flow timing and so on, you can experiment and try to add wrist circles to other type of circles. So remember that the direction of both circles have to match. So for example, if I'm doing an inner shoulder circle, yeah, if I had a wrist circle, of course has to be a wrist circle towards the body as well. So I can just carry on from the one into the next, and the same is true here, going out this way, or yeah. So it's going to be a work of self-discovery. I hope you enjoy adding the little new dimension of wrist circles to your other circles.